Welcome back to Made Audio straight from China, a new brand, at least new on these channels, and I'm speaking about AIYIMA. I hope I pronounced it well. Maybe you heard already one, but it's new to me. They reached out and asking me to test this new A80, priced around 200 bucks. I think it's a very interesting product. Not perfect, but definitely competitive. So let's not waste time and dive right in. The packaging is nicely done and inside you will find a lightweight plastic remote control. The buttons are not exactly soft to the touch, but they do the job well, letting you control volume and more. AIYIMA even includes optical cables and a Bluetooth antenna. Antenna that don't forget to mount it, otherwise you will have problem as I did in terms of connection with your smartphone, for example. AIYIMA products remind me a lot Fosi audio products. Also here, if you look these designs is very closer to Fosi audio product. Compact, lightweight, but well put together. In fact, the A80 is so light that my speaker cables actually lifted it off the shelf a bit. It is solidly built and it features a front colors display that is really beautiful, where you can switch between 3 different view meters, adjust bass and treble, and select your input source. A truly all-in-one product because it's mounting inside already a digital to analog converter, and exactly the ES9038Q2M DAC, but we will talk about this later, just in a moment. It accepts digital inputs via optical, coaxial and USB-C, and also has RCA and TRS analog inputs if you want to connect an external DAC, phono preamp or CD player. There is even an aux output for a subwoofer and 12-volt trigger for a system integrations. Though I would prefer instead aux for subwoofer and TRS another couple of RCA connections. The A80 used the powerful TPA3255 Class D amplifier chip paired with audiophile-grade components. The output power depends on the power supply. Mine came with a 48-volt 5 ampere, which delivers 120 watt into 4 ohms and 102 watt into 8 ohms. But you can push it even further, up to 250 watt into 4 ohms and 150 watt into 8 ohms, with a 48 volt 10 ampere power supply. That's a lot of power in a really small package, just like we have seen with the Fosi Audio Class D amplifiers. But how does it actually sound? For my initial test, I paired it with the Win Pro Plus as a streamer and the Fosi ZD3 as an external DAC, driving the brand new Sonus Faber Sonetto 2G2 speakers. And my initial test focused to compare the internal DAC of the A80 with an external one like the Fosi Audio. And honestly, I ended up prefer the internal DAC of the Ayima A80. While the ZD3 is technically superior, I found it a bit too transparent and clinical when paired with the A80. The onboard DAC of the A80 on the other end sounded smoother and more natural to my ears. So no, you definitely don't need to spend extra money for an external DAC, absolutely. The internal one is excellent as is. With the Sonus Faber Sonetto 2G2, the sound was tight and punchy in the low end, very solid and dynamic. The mid-range was clean with good vocal presence and tonal balance. Treble performance was decent, not the most airy or extended, but well controlled and not fatiguing. And really there is plenty of power. High volumes are handled with ease, and the A80 remains composed even when pushed. Next I moved to 8 ohm speaker to test any shift in the frequency response due to the Class D amplification. And I used the A80 to drive the new focal Aria Evo X1. Overall was natural with minimal tonal colorations. The bass remained dynamic and well formed, vocals were open and airy, and the treble presented just a hint of sparkle. Imaging and soundstage were very good, not the widest or the deepest, but still engaging and fun to listen to. Over time I did feel the need to take a break. Not due to brightness, but because the sound was not 100% natural to my ears. Not really fatiguing, but just a bit spicy for my ears after long sections. Switching to the Buchardt S400 MKII, yes, I know, a much more expensive speaker, the A80 really come alive. This was by far the best pairing. The highs were smoother and more refined, and the mid-range sounded more natural, with a bass that was rich, deep into the subsonic territory with great control. Also, details and imaging were excellent, and I could listen for hours without fatigue. Make me thinking that the A80 works better with speakers that are a bit rolled off on the top, or at least not overly bright. Testing the Q Acoustics 5040 next, things were not as balanced. The mid-range, especially on vocals, became overly forward, and the treble lost refinement. It was not aggressive, but definitely more splashy and confused. Not a pairing I'd recommend. I also would not match the A80, for example, with Bowden Wilkins or Dali, as those tend to sound brighter on the top. However, with Buchardt speakers were excellent, and if you don't want to spend too much money for the S400, the P300 will be also a great choice. We review it, I will let the link in the description. Before wrapping up, I also tested the Bluetooth performance. It works well and lets you connect directly from your phone without needing an external streamer. The sound was a bit lighter, especially with vocals and instruments, compared to a dedicated streamer, which added more body and density, but it's usable and convenient. One last thing, the A80 doesn't get warm as, for example, the Fosi V3 Mono, and when I pressed my ears to the tweeter, the noise floor was incredibly low, almost silent. In my opinion, for $200 is an excellent choice. I had planned to compare it with a Fosi V3 Stereo plus Q6 DAC combo, which I just received, but neither of these has a built-in preamp. So you had lost remote control functionality and the total cost would be much higher once you add a streamer. Honestly, I wouldn't spend extra money, extra cash on an external streamer or DAC. The Ayima A80 works great as it is, and you will have a lot of fun with it, as long as you choose the right speaker, right? Pair it right and you are good to go. From MedAudio is everything. I hope you guys enjoyed the review. If you have any comments, any questions, please let me know in the comment sections down below, and see you soon.